What is wrong?
I thought I heard something. Good night.
Yeah, hello. Have you got your own refill? Yes, water. Just wanted you to hold on for a bit. Let's talk about World Pangolin Day. Pangolins are thought to be the most trafficked animals in the world, mammals in the world, actually, snatched from the wild due to demand for their scales, which are mistakenly thought to have medicinal properties in traditional medicine. All 8 species of pangolin are at risk, 6 at imminent threat of extinction. These shy, fascinating creatures are the only mammals which are covered in scales. When they are scared, they roll into a ball, effective against natural predators, but easy picking for poachers. So World Pangolin Day is observed around the globe on the 3rd Saturday of every February to celebrate the scaly-skinned mammals that help keep our planet healthy and to also try to ensure that they do not go extinct. Let's converse this morning with Desmond Majekodunmi, who is an environmentalist and founder of Lufasi Park. Thank you for joining us this morning, Mr. Majekodunmi.
It's my pleasure to be with you.
Yeah. Well, we've done this quite a few times. How far would you say we have even gone in ensuring the needful so that these pangolins don't go extinct?
We have done a lot of movement over the last 2 years, especially with the customs officers now. We're very, very impressed with what they're doing because they have been quite diligent. Nigeria had become a major hub for these pangolin scales and also other things like the ivory from the elephants, coming in from other countries, but also from our country. And they've been seizing a lot of them, and recently they just burnt a whole bunch of them, destroyed them, so there's no longer any way of those scales or ivory being released. So yes, recently we're seeing some very, very positive developments. But my brother, it's not enough. You mentioned a word there in your introduction, and you said that many of the species are going extinct. Extinct. Okay, to my limited understanding of the language, it means if it's extinct, it's gone forever. So the question we have to now ask ourselves is how is it that we can be part of a process that will be destroying forever a particular species that we never had the capability and will never have the capacity to create? How can we justify driving a species, a wonderful, wonderful aspect of this incredible miracle of creation, into extinction? That's a very serious word, extinction. How dare we? How dare we?
You know, the question that I asked, was how much we're doing, how well would you say we're doing to ensure that that extinction doesn't happen? Interestingly, pangolins are not the only ones at that risk. Even human languages are, and some have gone extinct. Children only read about dinosaurs and tyrannosaurs and all of that in books. Whether or not it ever existed, left to the imagination, some would say. But in terms of our movement, last year alone, Nigerian customs officials seized 1,613 tons of pangolin scales and arrested 14 people. Nigeria's, that's according to our Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency. Would you say, from your understanding, that is significant deterrence?
It is a beginning of the process of creating a significant deterrence in terms of what it used to be in the past. Because there's a reason why Nigeria now became a hub for the export of these pangolin scales and the ivory and so on. It's because of the lackadaisical attitude that was adopted to them. So it is actually very, very encouraging, but it's just a little step in the right direction. And it's possibly coming because, there's obviously a clear lack of understanding, not just amongst Nigerians, not just amongst the Chinese, who are the main buyers of the pangolin scale, because they use it for all kinds of so-called medicinal purposes, which is totally unfounded, based on ignorance, because the scale is actually made from carotene. It's carotene, the same ingredient as your fingernail. But so it's not just the Chinese or the Nigerians, but globally, there's a lack of understanding of the implications of driving species into extinction. Like you rightly said, in days gone by, thousands of eons ago, certain species did go into extinction, but it was in a very slow pattern. It would have taken, hundreds of thousands of years. Never before, through the examination of geology and so on, have we seen such a rapid extinction of species. And it's not just the pangolin. There are many other species that are critical, like the vulture. So many other species that are so important. These are part of the web of life. Okay? And you take out a strand of a web and another strand, the web might still be there. But eventually, you will now remove one strand and the whole web starts to collapse. And this is what we are on the verge of doing to this incredible, miraculous web of life that gives us our life support, that gives this planet the unique position of being probably the only one, at least the only one that we've been able to observe out of millions of planets, that has the capacity to support life. We're treading on very dangerous territory. And interestingly, my brother, the pangolin issue, it typifies several things. One of the things it typifies is the incredible, intricate, what I call miraculous system that has been put in place in this planet. Because the pangolin has a role. The pangolin has a very long tongue. The tongue is about half as long as its whole body. And its major role is to predate on ants and termites. Okay? It controls the population of the ants and termites. And those ants and termites are playing a very important role in breaking down biological matter so it can go into its chemical form as nutrients for the plants. And the pangolin also does a lot of aerating because it digs into the soil and so on. So it has several functions that are in complete harmony with nature, in complete harmony. And also, it only has, one or two offspring every year. So it doesn't over-predate on the ants. So, yeah, that's one of the things that it typifies.
I would want you to expatiate a little further on that function, because I was going to ask you that next. What are the functions of the pangolin in nature? I'm asking because, for instance, some just hearing the description, it curls into a ball when it is threatened, but it is not insulated from poachers. And so many of these poachers, of course, human beings, may just see them as, okay, just one of those things, and then they pick them without knowing that they are inflicting self-harm by not knowing the functions of that pangolin whose scales they are picking and killing. Exactly. As a result, what are the harm we do ourselves when we take out these pangolins without knowing?
This is a very fundamental question, and I'm glad you brought it up, my brother, because we need to get that awareness out there. The harm that we are doing by destroying this incredible creature, which, it's only protection, as you said. It rolls up into this ball, but because the scales are very strong, there's very few animals that can actually crush the scales. So it is quite safe. It doesn't attack other animals, but it is controlling the population of the termites. You must have seen in the course of your life many times when the termites will now attack a piece of wood and the wood just almost disintegrates. That's what termites are there for. Again, another one of those creatures that are part of the incredible miraculous, and we're going to get back to why I'm using that word, miraculous web of life, because those termites and other insects like that, they break down the biomatter. When you break it down, it now goes into the soil. The various chemicals can come out of it, and those chemicals that come out of it act as a natural organic fertilizer for other plants to grow. So the termites are doing a very important role. But if you have too many termites, they will overdo the whole thing. And what the pangolin does, this wonderful, incredible creature who has enough sensitivity to even carry its young on its back like that, and walk along, what the pangolin does, it controls that population of the termite. But again, the miracle of nature coming in. If pangolins had too many offspring, maybe like 5 or 10, like some other type of rodents do, then there will be too much predation on the termites. So you have too few termites. Balance. It is balance. So the harm that we're doing by wiping out these creatures because we want to just make some money from the scale, which is just out of pure ignorance anyway, because the scale is keratin. So if you want the keratin, you may as well just chew your fingernails. Or if you want keratin, I will be cutting my fingernails and my toenails, and I'll send them to whoever wants to eat the keratin. They can eat my toenails, rather than eating the pangolin scale. So that's the harm we're doing to the environment, which again, remember, the environment is our life support system, and it's our children's life support system. And we are threatening it. We've reached a critical stage, wiping out species and driving many, many species to the brink of extinction far more rapidly than has ever been recorded. So that's the physical. But then, if we want to look at the metaphysical, we are also going against the complete injunctions of all the major scriptures that tell us very clearly that we are gardeners, we are keepers of this earth, that we are here to replenish the earth. And it's one of the most logical injunctions because we're replenishing, again, our life support system. So maintaining the population of the pangolins is very important. And if we are driving them into extinction, then we're going totally contrary to scriptural injunction. And that is not an expression of love of the Creator, certainly not an expression of love of our children. Their life supports.
Yeah, the one that's even most troubling is the fact that we're inflicting harm on ourselves without even knowing it. Unfortunately, Mr. Majekodunmi, a lot of these things are seen more in the rural areas, more in the hinterlands, the farmlands, wetlands, and all of that. Do you see any significant action of the authorities to protect the environment and consequently protect these endangered species?
Well, we are just seeing a few hopeful signs. Some of the NGOs have been very, very active. The Nigerian Conservation Foundation, our Lufasi organization, and also the Wild Africa Aid organization, they're really, really promoting the cause. But we're also seeing some hopeful signs from some of the ministries of the environment. The Lagos State Ministry of Environment is certainly going gung-ho in terms of protecting the areas where these creatures do live, because it's not just us wiping them out directly, just killing them for their skills. It's also, this massive destruction of their habitats. And we're informed that there's only a couple, unfortunately, of other ministries of environment in some of the other states that seem to be quite keen now on, fulfilling their mandate, which is to preserve the environment. Again, the environment is our life support system. So we're seeing some hopeful signs there. But there was a very hopeful pronouncement by Mr. President just a few days ago to, I think at the security meeting that they had, or governor's meeting, or whatever, anyway, that the park agencies, the park rangers, park protection is going to be boosted. And this is very, very encouraging, so long as it actualizes into action as opposed to just pronouncement, because that's one of the first steps of protecting creatures like the pangolin, but also the habitats of the pangolin, which is also very important for other people. If the parks And we do have reservations around the country. So if these parks really can be far better protected, it will be so much of an improvement, and also even for security measures as well. So it's very much of a win-win. And definitely, Mr. President made that statement. We heard it, and we're going to shine our eye on that one to make sure that it is actualized to the hilt, to the T. It's a very important thing. So Pangolin is a good representation. It's like a figurehead for us that, okay, we're going to protect this creature, but it goes way beyond that, because we have to also protect the habitat of the creature. And that habitat of the creature does so much for us in our environment. It helps, we're talking of the wetlands, we're talking of the savannas. It helps so much, even to fight climate change, which again is a huge issue. So there's hope. There's good hope.
Okay, well, I can imagine you lighting up at the mention of that particular park rangers issue when the president mentioned it. But the president is not the only one in government. I know that you are also aware a good number of states have ministries of the environment and all, particularly, and then we also just ended a conversation around local government administrations and everything like that. So, do you see significant conversation, significant understanding, significant engagement of these levels of authority at the state levels and at the local government levels, and not just engagement but understanding of the issues around the environment?
I do. I see it coming on, and I see it coming on in quite a dramatic way. And again, if we can go a little bit spiritual about this, because we are now seeing the actualization of, again, scriptural injunctions, particularly the injunction that God is not mocked. Whatsoever, I repeat, whatsoever you sow, you shall surely reap. So those who are in position of leadership, especially in the ministries of the environment, because another name for that ministry is the ministry of our life support system. So whoever is involved in those ministries in a decision-making capacity has to be very diligent to ensure that they do not get hit with a very negative, retributive justice, because we're seeing this being poured out now. Nature herself is telling humanity, you must change your attitudes. You can no longer be driven by selfishness, by pride, by greed, to the detriment of our life support system and your children's life support system, because a retributive force is now being unleashed. And I really am encouraged by what I'm seeing with one or two of the state ministries, especially, as I said, in Lagos State. And it's not just the environment. Agric is doing something wonderful. Ministry of Health is doing another wonderful thing there. And these men, because they're affecting the lives of millions, that retribution will be not a negative retribution if they're affecting it positively. They'll get blessed. But if they dare to go down that road and succumb to temptation and not do what is necessary to be done to protect our life support systems, then you can be very sure that the retribution will be. I'm talking purely spiritual. So yeah, I'm encouraged that we're going to see some very positive changes coming about, especially in the ministry of the environment.
It sounds like you're telling them all to go fast and pray so that they do not fall prey to this retribution. Well, so many issues to discuss in this one, but then for me, the most important issue would be that of communication with the people. It's one thing to just push information out there. It's another thing entirely for people to actually understand what we are saying. And so the call for collaboration among the three tiers of government, as well as practitioners in the various sectors, is something that has to be given due attention. We have to thank you very much this morning. Mr. Desmond Majekodunmi is an environmentalist and founder at Lufasi Park. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Fast and pray and do the right thing.
Okay. All right, we have another conversation coming on. Don't forget, in our lineup earlier, we talked about anxiety. That's up next. About World Pangolin Day. Get a cup of water yourself.